Hi, my name's Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I have a very special guest, Bill Bennett, who has been working on an amazing movie on intuition. And a couple of years ago, I think it was like 2-3 years ago, we did a take on his movie and what he was about to start working on, and now it is finished. And Bill has a movie, it's called PGS, which is Personal Guidance System. And it is intuition is your personal guidance. And what you're gonna find in his movie is how we all have this divine intuition and what it's all about and how we can tap into it. And he has some of the most incredible authorities on spirituality, on healing, and on intuition in the world that will be talking in his movie to give us the insights that we need to take ourselves forward into the future, because the future and the world is changing, and what we're going to embark on is a new world, and tapping into our inner guidance is everything that we need to cope with and to make the world a better place. So I'm here today not just to talk about Bill's movie, but to look at his chart, because he requested a reading. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over his chart and tell him about how the next 6 months to a year will pan out for him in terms of his life with this new project. So here we sit, and I want Bill to be able to ask any questions you would like concerning your chart, but the most important thing is to figure out the most auspicious time to launch this, as well as to see how his chart and his transits and the predictions are coming about for him to start this brand new project. So a little bit of this is the astrology of how I do a reading, and the most important part is for you to get this information about his new movie. So Bill, is there anything you want to say about your movie before we start the reading?
Thank you, Joni. Thank you for that introduction.
Sure.
In fact, I'm in Dallas because, as you know, a Vedic astrologer in India said that Dallas was the best place for me to be on the planet for my cosmic rays in a beneficial sense. And as soon as he said that, I then Googled Vedic astrologers Dallas, and up came your name. And that's how we met. We came to Dallas because the cosmic rays are most beneficial for me here, and we met and we've become very good friends since.
I know, so there was something to that reading. So it all started from an astrology reading.
Absolutely.
Because he went to India and then said, hey, Dallas is the place. And it really did launch a lot of the projects that this whole film's about, because for one thing that I love about that, you trusted your intuition.
I did. I trusted my intuition. I also trusted the whole process of Vedic astrology.
Yeah.
I trusted it implicitly. And interestingly, a number of the things that original Vedic astrologer said would happen are now happening.
Right.
But also, what was really interesting was that when my wife and I came to Dallas and we met you, and you did the charts, and the charts coincided, they matched up absolutely with what he had done. And that, I thought, was just amazing, because, you know, the constellations are correct.
Absolutely, and of course they're going to line up, because this is astrology, and the astrology always lines up. So Bill, I want to start by going over your chart, because do you mind me sharing your birth data and information with everyone? Okay, yeah. Because he's got an amazing chart, and I wanted to show everyone how this works. So Bill, let's start with going over your birth chart, which, Bill, I have you born August 11th, 1953, and the time I'm using is 11:11 a.m. in Wimbledon, England. Is that all correct?
Yeah, my mother is still alive, and I asked her because I couldn't quite believe that it was 11 o'clock, And she said it was a little bit after 11, so I've sort of fudged a little bit and said it was 11 past 11.
Well,
but I think
that gives you the ascendant that I know works for you.
Right, yeah.
So with that, I'm looking at your ascendant sign, which is Virgo. So your ascendant is 22 degrees of Virgo with Saturn and Neptune right in your first house. And Neptune is really close to your ascendant. And believe it or not, Neptune rules film and movies.
Oh, really?
I know. Did you ever know that?
I didn't know
it's
that.
just like,
no.
So, and it's also about mysticism and spirituality. So you've always been involved. You've always had an interest in what's beyond this world. And miracles. I always find that Neptune deals with miracles, and you're all about, you know, the things that are unexplainable beyond this world. But you have a stellium of planets. Stellium means 4 or more planets in the same sign in Cancer. And this stellium is so very important because what's happening this summer is where these eclipses are coming across the signs of Capricorn and Cancer, where all your planets are. So you've got to be feeling it. Something's coming, something big is coming. Because Rahu, we look at Rahu and Ketu, these are the north and the south node of the moon. And these are the indicators of our fate and destiny. So Rahu being in the sign of Cancer right now, every 18 and a half years, the nodes come back to their starting positions. So it takes them 18 and a half years to go through all 12 signs. So essentially, if you went back to 18 and a half years ago, this would be the start or something reminiscent of what is happening today.
Do you know what? If I can just say, 18 and a half years ago, exactly 18 and a half years ago, I heard a voice which saved my life, and that was the start of the film.
Wow.
18 and a half years ago.
See, this is always so important. I'm such a big believer in eclipses, because with eclipses, they're where Rahu and Ketu are transiting. So every 18 and a half years, they come back to the starting position. So essentially, every time the nodes change signs, we can go back 18 and a half years ago to get an idea of what will be happening here and now. There's something in the past that will reemerge and come up for us to process. And you said that that's where this whole project...
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I didn't realize that. But yeah. It was late 1999 when I heard a voice. I was in New Orleans. I was working on a movie. I heard a voice which said, "Slow down." I was driving, heading to the airport. I did slow down. A truck ran a red light, narrowly missed me. If I hadn't slowed down, if that voice hadn't intervened, I would have been killed. Now, I'd like to do the maths on it, I'm just thinking at the moment, but that's approximately 18 and a half years ago. Yeah.
See, I'm telling you, this always works this way.
And by the way, she didn't know the dates on any of this. This is like live stuff. I
mean, that's true.
You didn't know. You didn't know the date of that happening.
Right, because all I know is that the last time that Rahu and Ketu were, Rahu was in Cancer, was 1999-2000.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay, so that was the time.
Yeah. So this whole project emerged from that. And so what's happening now is Rahu is going to be crossing over. My goodness, you have Mercury, Ketu, and Mars, Sun, and Pluto. There's so many planets there. They're all so crunched up together. They're so small that I could barely see them. That's how important this sign is, Cancer. And you know, Cancer is the most sensitive sign of all. So you're a touchy-feely person. You have to feel things to really grasp them. And you're hypersensitive. You feel, you sense everything in the environment, you know, sounds, colors. And this is what makes you an artist. Because, you know, to be a film director and creator, you are an artist, and you know that. So, but you take it down to what Cancer is really about, emotion. Because what you're really giving to people is a sense of emotion and feeling. And this is connecting to our intuition. But you're doing that through a sense of feeling. This is what Cancer, the sign Cancer's all about. So you have all these planets in the 11th house. And the 11th house is the house of friends, groups, and organizations. And it's also the house of great gains. So with Rahu transiting here, this is going to bring you the gains that you need to get your movie out there, to get it public. So this is enormous that you even have your Rahu in Ketu. You know, you have Ketu in Cancer. And you have Rahu in Capricorn, and as they've come back to their starting positions, and not only that, it was 18 and a half years ago that they came back to the starting positions. So it's like you always have this 18 and a half year cycle that brings everything to the forefront that's important and is your destiny. Because I always say the nodes are our destiny, but this is your destiny that's come to the forefront here and now. And now you're here to share it with the world, because this is the 11th house. The 11th house is groups, friends, organizations, gains, and it's very important people. It means influential people. So through your work, you are here to connect with the people that can make this project happen. This is what really, essentially, this was your destiny. Whether you knew it or not, you essentially came in this world to do this project, and now it's come full circle. I kid you not, right now. Yes. It
is truly amazing.
It is. So I'm pulling up that, let me give you some dates and times, but...
well, if I could just explain, the reason I asked for this reading was because we've been having these small theatrical screenings around America, and the response has been incredibly strong. Soon I'm going to be releasing the film online and on DVD, and I didn't want the choice of the date to be arbitrary. I wanted the choice of the date to be rooted in cosmology, in what you do. And so that's why I contacted you, to see if you could do a reading, giving me the most
auspicious,
auspicious, best. Date, and the date that could lead for the release to be the most successful. And so that's why I contacted you.
And that's what I'm here to do for you, because not only do I see this is the timing of when something important occurs, I'm able to give you exactly within the year when the most auspicious day is. Because I look at where the planets are for that day, but relative to your birth chart as well.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. So looking at this, I mean, you have Venus, by the way, in your 10th house. The 10th house is your work and your career. And Venus is creative. So you cannot do anything unless it uses your creative talents. And your Venus being in Gemini, you are all about communicating things to people in an artistic, beautiful way. And what better way than through the arts, through movies, through music, things of that nature. That's what you're here to do, and present these things. And Jupiter is in your 9th house. The 9th house is spirituality and truth. And that's what Jupiter is called, guru, in Vedic astrology. So you are the teacher in some respect. With your arts and your talents, you're here to teach people through your art. And I believe that's what you may not understand, that that's what your movie's going to do, but that is what it will do. And that is what you have been doing all along, because you've been doing this work for a long time. You've been working in the film business your whole life, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since 1982.
Wow. Yes. And you've had a lot of interesting work prior to this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've done big movies and small movies. I've won awards. I've been dumped on by critics. I hate them.
Yeah. Yes,
some
I
critics
can
have said some
imagine.
nice things too.
Yes. So one last thing, a couple of last things I want to talk about. Your natal chart, this is who you are, before we get to the predictions, is you have the moon in the 12th house. And the 12th house deals with foreign lands and countries and spirituality. And it's in Leo. By the way, your moon is in Purva Falguni. This is the nakshatra. That nakshatra is always about entertainment and self-expression. And I find more actors and actresses and people in the film and movie business have planets in Purva Falguni. By the way, my moon's there too. So we pretty much, we enjoy expressing ourselves in a creative way. That's what that nakshatra is all about. And because it's in your 12th house, you do a lot of work in foreign lands and countries. You were born in England, but you live in Australia, and here you are in Dallas, Texas. It's pretty diverse. So Rahu is in your 5th house. And what's interesting is all your planets are grouped up on one side of your chart, but Rahu is alone in the 5th house. The 5th house is also the house of creativity. It's also the house of the mind and intelligence. And it means that you're very, very intense and expressive and highly intelligent. So bringing all that together is
So that's expressive, intense, and highly intelligent.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
And not only that.
I'm humble too.
Yeah, but will also make you a little bit obsessive. Obsessive compulsive. When you start thinking about something, you can't stop. And I have to say probably this project you can get obsessive about, right?
I have been.
Okay. Well, that makes you
for a long time.
Yeah, that can breed for success. So looking at your dasha sequence, you are currently in Jupiter Mercury's Mahadasha, and you started it almost a year ago, June of 2017, and it will continue through September of 2019. So you're right in the depths of Jupiter and Mercury. And let me just say, this is the very end of Jupiter's Mahadasha. That's, well, not the very end, but you're nearing the end. Let's see here. Okay. Actually, no, I'm sorry about that. But you are in Jupiter, Mercury. My eyes trying to see these cycles here. So what I'm seeing is you're in Jupiter all the way till the year 2026. Jupiter is in your 9th house. So when you're in these dashas, whatever houses they're in, whatever houses they rule is going to be your experience. So this is a 16-year cycle you've been in for not that long. The 9th house is about travel, it's about spirituality, and it's about the truth. And that is what you're here to bring. And it's also about teaching. So in essence, you feel more compelled with your work to teach and bring the truth to people. And through this, you have to travel worldwide. Now, Mercury is one of the planets that's grouped up in your 11th house. So you're meeting new people that are helping you with your projects and just finding new friends and friendships. It's really, you know, this is a whole new world. But most importantly, where transiting Jupiter is, because you're in Jupiter's Mahadasha, the transit of Jupiter, in other words, where it is in the sky right now, is the most important planet for you right now because you're in that cycle. So Jupiter is about abundance and opportunities and wealth and spirituality. And it's been transiting your 2nd house. This is the house of money, and it's also the house of speech. So your speech is clearer, and you have a mission to speak out on something you believe in. But it's also a time when you will be given the benefits of financial rewards, because as Jupiter is in your 2nd house, being the house of money, it will give you what you need. Now, Jupiter has been in Libra in your 2nd house as of last September of 2017, and it will continue to be there till October of 2018. And this is going to bring you opportunities that make this project possible. It's happening, Bill, okay? I have to say that. And going to where transiting Rahu is, where we were talking about where the eclipses are occurring, they're in your 11th house. You're meeting influential people. You're meeting people that are meaningful and purposeful to help you with your projects to make them occur. This is definite. So Rahu is going to be here in Cancer, crossing over all of your planets until March of 2019. So there's going to be one event after another. But this summer is the time that things really happen for you, because there's going to be these eclipses in July. And it's going to be July, around the 27th, there's going to be a lunar eclipse that actually connects to your Rahu, incredibly to your Rahu. So around that time of the eclipse, it's going to be occurring in your 5th house. And your 5th house is the house that deals with your mind, your intelligence, and major opportunities with creative endeavors, because that's what the 5th house is. Actually, in Vedic astrology, we call the 5th house the house of Puva Punya, which means past life good karma or credit that's due to you in this lifetime. And now is the time that it's all coming together for you when this eclipse happens, because this eclipse is going to happen around 10 degrees of Capricorn. This is a lunar eclipse. Your Rahu is 10 degrees of Capricorn. This is rare, okay? And it's happening in the 5th house of your creativity. And meanwhile, Rahu is in your 11th, aspecting all of the planets here. Now I'm going to start giving you some dates, and then I'm going to give you an auspicious date to launch everything. Okay. So,
by the way, Jane,
yes.
This is amazing because all of this is happening. I mean,
Wow.
I think 2 weeks ago I was in Spain. Next week I'm going to be in France. At the moment I'm in Dallas. Week after that I'm going to be back in Australia. And I'm meeting all of these extraordinary people.
Yeah.
And just in the last couple of days I've met, 3 people who have said to me, Bill, how can we help you?
Wow.
It's extraordinary.
It's destiny. And that's what happens when you have these nodes connecting, because they are the places of eclipses. These are the cycles that create events. So I'm a firm believer in eclipses. So I'm looking at, it's almost right now, because right now we're in May of 2018, but I'm looking at May 14th. This is going to be when Rahu's going to hit your Mars. It's pretty much there right now. And one thing I know, Rahu Mars, you've got to be careful driving, believe it or not. This will make you accident prone. So, and I know, I'm not saying that, I mean, I just happened to see that, but I know you were in an accident recently on the highway. Yeah.
A hit and run.
Yeah, so you've got to watch this.
Well, on May 14, I'm going to be at the Cannes Film Festival and meeting some important people that day. So
Wow.
that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and be careful traveling. Don't be traveling around that time. So
Okay.
just, get there, stay situated. But as Rahu hits your Mars, I mean, that's a powerful event, because Mars is action, Mars is energy, but your Mars does rule the 3rd house. So be careful, how you express yourself, because Mars can make you a little bit too over pushy. Mars is it's aggressive. So, with this, you can take this information and use this to, watch how you behave and what you do. Because this is going to be an aggressive time. Okay. But then again, it's going to mean that you're going to meet some aggressive people. Okay, some people that are movers and shakers too, that are very powerful.
Well, the Cannes Film Festival is the place to meet them.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
So that's May 14th. Then I'm looking at when you have a nodal return. Well, actually, you have the opposite of a nodal return. And I call this a nodal inversion, where you have Rahu and Ketu and Rahu. So this is what you're having this year. And it means that you're being reminded of what you're supposed to be doing. It means it returns you to looking at things in a different way, in a different light. And looking at that, this is going to be around September. And September 25th is a nodal return. And it does actually mean, though, that you may have a change about with your plans. So something, the way you thought it was going to go a certain direction, it will actually change. And you're going to have to change your course. Remember this. But that's okay. All right? Because it just means that your intuition's going to guide you to take a different path.
Okay.
And this is the direction that it needs to take, okay? So then I'm looking at, you've already had Rahu cross over your sun not that long ago. I'd say maybe 6 to 4 months ago. Actually, yeah, around 4 months ago. So this is where you probably met some important people. Can you...
That'd be February.
Give or take, probably December, I would think, around that time.
Right. I have to get back to you on that, but
Yeah.
I've been meeting so many people lately.
Yeah, well...
I was in December, late December, I was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I have to think about that.
Okay. And then, when Rahu hits Mercury, this will be October, you're going to be traveling. I mean, I know you travel ridiculous all the time, but this is even more. So I know October is going to be a very, very busy month for you in terms of travel. And October is actually when everything takes off for you, because Jupiter being in your second house, yes, you're getting the funds, whatever you need, but when it goes into your third house, and Jupiter will be, that's when it shifts into Scorpio. And this will be in October of 2018 through November of 2019. And this is the house of communications, travel, and self-expression. It often deals with the entertainment business. But Jupiter in your third house is going to start to cast a trine to your stellium of planets in Cancer, because Jupiter in Scorpio trines Cancer. So this means one good thing after another is going to start occurring. In October, it's when it all takes off, truly. So this is going to be when Jupiter will start to trine your sun. This will be when it first enters into Scorpio in October. Then it will start to aspect Mercury. October 27th, let me just give you the list. It's going to be meaningless to you, but it's just to give you an idea of how many hits are one right after another. October 27th, Rahu hits Mercury. That's always about travel. It's always about expansion. And for you, Mercury rules your 10th house of your work, your career. So this is like, it hits. This is amazing. And it's always about travel. So I know you'll be traveling then. November 27th, Jupiter will be aspecting your Ketu, and this is like a revelation. This is a spiritual revelation, and it's about you meeting some people who are very spiritual in many ways that will help your projects. But these are going to be spiritual types, not just business types, okay? Then I get that by December 19th, Jupiter will trine your Mars. And this is, and it's in the 11th house, so this is, you're meeting so many people. You're going to be, I mean, you're going to be out there. A lot of social events. So, you know, get ready. You're going to be meeting all sorts of new types. By February 10th, this is 2019, Jupiter trines your sun. This is always auspicious. And this means that your career, your focus, who you are, has come into play. And things, there's opportunities. Jupiter gives opportunities, okay? Then I'm looking at Jupiter by February 23rd. Jupiter will oppose your natal Jupiter. And you know, I know you have your place in Australia, but you may be thinking about a move. Or either where you're spending or living most of your time will be different. Okay. Yeah. So, and this is always about travel and opportunities and gains. And it also means that you have a partnership that is really coming together closer. And this could be Jen, your wife. So, but it could also mean business partners. And I know you guys kind of work as business partners. So that could be that she's going to start doing very well. And her projects, her ideas are working together are going to really prosper and grow together. So as I was saying, all these planets are converging together in the sign of Sagittarius. And that means that they're coming together in your fourth house. And I know it means you're going to be moving. And I know that the fourth house is also the opposite house to the 10th house, which is your work. So all the planets are casting their rays and their light to the house of your work. And Saturn's been in your 4th house for the past year or so. That's been tough. You've been away from home for a long, long time, and that doesn't feel that good. Especially since, you know, you still have your mother, and the 4th house represents mother, and you feel sort of like, you know, you've abandoned home, but you've had this project that you've had to work on. So that's where you are with your home. But eventually, you're going to move, and it is going to be because of your work.
And do you know where I'm going to move to?
It's going to be a big move.
Okay.
I'll have to figure that one out with astrocartography, but no, I don't know exactly where you're going to move, but I can tell you, you are going to move, and it's not going to be down the street.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe to Dallas.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. I know you guys like Dallas. So, so now I want to choose a date. I went over some dates to figure out when you should launch. And when I look at a prashna, when I look at a auspicious time, I love to look at the moon being in a good nakshatra, the moon being trine to Jupiter. And there's a couple of dates, but one that I feel is important based on making it relative to your chart is September 4th. I mean, I know that's a Tuesday, which is a Mars day, which can be very intense, but I like it relative to the fact that Jupiter right now, being in Libra, will be casting a trine to the moon on that day. And that puts the moon in your 10th house in your birth chart. So if that's a day that's feasible, and really any time in September, as long as we have the moon in a good nakshatra, well, on that day it's in Ardra, which is a tough one. But I will say it's going to be conjunct your Venus in the 10th house. Doesn't get better than that. The moon is publicity. It's the masses of people. And the moon is where the heart is. It's definitely the most important planet to be looking at when you're planning auspicious dates. So the moon being in your 10th house conjunct your Venus would be exceptional. Plus Jupiter is trining your Venus, and Jupiter will be trining the moon that day. And Jupiter is still in Libra, and it's in Venus's sign aspecting Venus, which I think is very auspicious because you've got to have money to make these projects go. The 2nd house is all about the financial gains and money. So this is the day that I chose right after. And also in September, we have Venus traveling with Jupiter in Libra. And Venus is intense in this sign, and it's going to go retrograde later in the month, but I like it before it's gone retrograde. So Venus being in Libra with Jupiter, both together in your 2nd house of finances and money, and casting a trine to your natal Venus, I think that's very, very auspicious. So just, you know, for the day, I think that's an auspicious day, but regardless, I see so many good things coming up in October, and the whole time, once Jupiter shifts into Scorpio, I think it's got to happen. So that's my analysis. That's my choice of days. Is there any questions you might have about all this?
September 4.
Yes.
You believe? Okay.
Yeah. Hey, and remember 4 is your number. I forgot.
It is?
Remember you said 444.
Of course it is.
You told me 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High 4.
I know. Just
high
realized
4.
it.
That's so cool. Yeah. And you're able to do charts on an event as against a person.
Absolutely. It's the birth of something. So it's like if you start your business on a day, that has a birth chart. If you get married on a day, that has a birth chart, just like a person. So yeah, it's the birth and the beginning of something.
Fantastic. And you see good things coming up.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll tell you what, this summer's going to be intense though, for everyone. Because those eclipses are really, really intense. We have K2 coming together with Mars, and K2 Mars, and of course then you have the the full moon, which is the lunar eclipse, that's huge energy. But for you, it's in the 5th house. It's what it's all about, creativity, the mind, intelligence. But it will be intense. It won't be easy. It won't be like, you know, everything's like handed to you on a silver spoon. You got to work for it. But I do get that through this period, everything is going to come together for you through your work, through your diligence, which I know you have. And I see that this project is your destiny. I really do, based on this whole analysis of the eclipses where they are in Rahu and Ketu, and now it's up. It's here occurring now. And now it's all these eclipses are happening, crossing over all of your planets in the 11th house. This is the time of gains and expansion. And the 11th house will bring you the people that you need and the financial support you need. And the rest is up to you, the message that you have to give.
Joni, this has been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm now going to put in place plans to release PGS on video, online, on DVD, on September 4, 4 being my number.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm hugely grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because
Thank you.
This is real to me.
Yeah.
So much has happened in Dallas that has been good for this film, and I see this as being the next thing that is going to be the right thing for the film. So thank you.
You're so welcome, and it's my honor and pleasure to read for you. So thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.